Dr. Felice Cellini, and I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. And this is our Thursday evening Why Wait for Recovery community recovery meeting.
It is.
It is.
It is our Talking Thursday. My name's Heidi, and I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. We get together twice a week to discuss recovery. We're friends in recovery. This is not a formal meeting of any group. It is just us having conversations with other friends and community. I'm actually a compulsive overeater. I'm a binger. I'm a poacher. I'm a food addict. I'm a cross addict. I'm a drug addict, and I'm in recovery.
You are. I'm a drug addict, alcoholic, anorexic, and I'm in recovery as well. And welcome.
And yes, and you know, I'm also post-bariatric surgery, so I did the surgery so I could get a quick fix.
And you did,
I
in
did.
some respects.
I did. I lost 150 pounds. I probably lost over 600 pounds and gained it over my lifetime. And I thought that would be the magic pill.
And was it?
It was for the weight. I lost
That's
the
true.
weight, but it didn't make me happy.
Right, it didn't make you happy. So just about every week I tell that story about the day that I came over and you were crying and you had lost 120 pounds already or whatever. And I was like, you know, what's going on? Because we had talked about recovery before. And I said, you look fantastic, which you did on the outside. You know, how you feeling on the inside? And how are you feeling on the inside?
So that is part of the interesting question, because on the inside, I was pretty screwed up. You know, I was a little while out of surgery, and I still trying to save face in terms of pretending to do things in front of other people. So we'd go out for dinner and they'd eat a big meal, and I'd have to justify why I was eating this much or not eating at all, or why I couldn't eat and drink at the same time.
Can I ask you a question? Because I'm an anorexic, so I didn't need surgery because I could starve myself and kill myself just fine all on my own. But why is it, and I'm not kidding, like really, why is it, because it's not you, it's a whole bunch of people that I know, that once they have bariatric surgery, they don't want anybody to know. Why is that, by the way? Beside the fact that it's an ego thing. But what is that?
So I can only talk from my
Of course.
perspective. Okay, so from my perspective, I honestly believe that it is all ego. You know,
Well, of course.
I had the surgery to look good. So everything's about looking good to others. And for me, if I looked a certain way or if I showed up in a certain way, people would see me in a certain way and they'd like me. You know, so for me, that whole thing of, it's very much ego based and very much based on the outer side. I wanted my outside to match your inside. So for me, it was also, there was a certain comfort in always feeling full. It's something that's always followed me my whole life. Except I could never get full. There was always this deep hole inside of me that I could never ever fill up. So I think there's also that element of not just looking good, but also fitting in. And for my family and myself, a lot of what we did revolved around food.
So, because here's the thing. So for me, it says it's trying to reconnect, Ange. For me, 10 years ago, I went into a treatment center for 6 months. Everybody knew I was a drug addict and an alcoholic. Everybody obviously knew. And I went into treatment because I was going to go into treatment or die. And when I got out, everybody knew that I had been in treatment. So I would imagine, because it's harder to hide my addiction, it's easier to hide your addiction, correct? I mean, not that it's easier because you see that you're 150 pounds overweight, but
Do you know what? I don't even know if it's the hiding that is in not having willpower. So we'll automatically jump to a certain conclusion of those people, because I was doing it myself. So I thought that if I found the right diet and I did the same things, then I would look like Christy Brinkley.
so the reason why I'm laughing is
Yeah.
because you say, well, okay, I'm 150 pounds overweight and people just think that I'm fat and lazy. With me, I'm a drug addict, alcoholic, and everybody thinks I'm a piece of shit. So it's out there already. You know what I mean? The fact that I'm a piece of shit's already out
Right,
there.
but what people think isn't important. I felt like a piece of shit.
No, of course, that's what I'm
Right.
saying. So for that alcoholic or drug addict that went into treatment, it's a quick difference that's so noticeable because you were high and now you're not.
Well, I think also the behaviors are not as extreme. I was a functioning addict, so I would show up as a brilliant worker. I was really good at everything I did, and it didn't matter how much I ate, I was still good at what I did. Whereas if I was overdoing the drug,
Nobody knew that I was on drugs. I mean, it's just
Right.
when I was drinking. But I think too, it's so funny, like we're all so complicated. You know, God forbid any of us say, I have a problem I needed help. I went to get help and I'm getting better. And this is what I'm doing right now. What the F is the problem with that? What is our problem? Because we know it's our ego, right?
Right, and I think I think part of that's also, for me, it was a cultural thing as well. It was always showing up that, we kept things in our family. Like, we never discussed issues out of the family. I was brought up with secrets. If someone said, how are you? I'm fine, I'm perfect, I'm good. We were never allowed to really complain about stuff or talk about how we are feeling. Nowhere. It was just one of those things. Be quiet. Kids must be seen and not heard. I was brought up with certain lies and certain paradigms that I think become really intrinsic in my nature.
And I think that a lot of us are, no matter what. Hi, come on in, have a seat.
Grab a chair.
We're on Facebook and you're not, so you can sit wherever you want. Nobody can see you, just us. And I think too, I think that stigma-wise, I think so when we talk about our ego, first of all, you guys, a lot of us out there think that we're addicts and we can get better by ourselves, and that's bullshit, or we'd all be better. That's first of all, right? We'd wake up in the morning, we'd say, oh my God, I'm a drug addict, I'm a food addict, I'm a binger, I'm a purger, and I really want to get better, so I will, and we do. That never happens. And so when we talk about ego and we talk about asking for help and we talk about seeing that if we ask for help, we think that we present as being weak. As opposed to when we're asking for help, that's really when we show our strength and when we allow other people to respond to us and to relate to us as human beings, correct?
And I think it's also that element of self-worth. I think that also, for me, that's something that sits really much in this, is I will do so much for other people. I'm not that person that will go to the ends of the world for other people, but when it comes to myself, I kind of put myself on the lowest level, that I'm not worthy of asking for help or getting help or deserving of it. So I think part of it is also the way that I've also view myself.
Yeah, and absolutely goes back to our self-worth and that we're not worthy and that, hi sweetheart, and that everybody else is. And so that's definitely true as well. I don't know why we view the world like that, but most of us, I would say pretty much so, every addict does. Or we wouldn't constantly be hurting ourselves and thinking that that's okay, because we would never, you wouldn't give 400 milligrams of oxycodone to your kid today.
No.
But you'd eat it.
Right.
And you wouldn't give your kid this much Oreos and tell him it's okay if you eat it because I'm going to take it in the bathroom so you can go throw it up. You wouldn't treat children
well,
like
that's
that.
not 100% true, because I have treated my kids on a certain level, and I've abused my kids, and that's part of my story, is because we'd go to the pediatrician, I'd say, let them give you a shot and I'll take you out for ice cream, or I want to eat something or do something, and I take them with me through the drive-through. So there's a certain amount of accountability
Right.
in me using my kids to justify.
Yeah,
me
but I'm
using.
not talking about that kind of accountability. I'm talking about flat out, like, here, I just went down to the street corner and I got myself heroin, so let's shoot up together. Right? So
Right.
you wouldn't purposely in your head set out to do something that bam, you knew was going to hurt them. Now that you know better, it's different. But before, you wouldn't say to your kids, hey, it's cool, you can eat as much as you want. Let me teach you how to throw up after.
So I love that you actually bring this up, because it's also this has been part of a dilemma for me as well, because kids today smoke pot. I mean, they smoke marijuana.
Well,
instead
they
of
smoked pot in my time too, I mean.
Right, but today it's more socially acceptable. So and in fact, it's like very in
And
for
it's more
kids
legal.
to do, and
Yeah.
it's also more
Yeah.
in to do. So kids they won't drive because of DUIs, and they're not going to use alcohol. But smoking it up seems to be really okay. I mean, it seems to be something that seems to be the norm today. So the question as a parent comes condoning certain behaviors. So it's not okay for you to drink in the house, but is it okay for you to vape and use drugs in the house? And as a drug addict in recovery, my answer is no, but it's a very fine line as well, because, there were stages when I was using that I was crazy, that I can understand why parents use with their kids. And I mean, there are parents who have used with their kids. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, we do crazy things when we're using.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to get back just for a second, because we had started talking about ego. So you guys, ego is what I think your opinion of me is. So it doesn't matter how I feel inside, because I have absolutely no self-worth. And so what matters to me is that when Sarah looks at me, Sarah says, wow, isn't Felice awesome and wonderful and brilliant and skinny, right? And all of those great, she really has her shit together, and she drives a great car, and she's well respected, and that's my opinion of me. as my own opinion of me and working on how it is that I feel and letting anybody know how I really do feel, right? And so when when we started talking about the bariatric surgery, we were talking about how you look on the outside and your insides and your outsides not matching. And so we all know that we're in active addiction. Our insides and outsides, unless we're fall down effed up, our insides and outsides definitely don't match, right? We're scared and alone. God bless you. We're scared and alone and ashamed inside. And on the outside, we're still out there doing our thing.
And also the lengths that we go to lie about doing our thing. So soon after bariatric surgery, to sit down and eat like a huge meal or try to make other people happy is just detrimental to myself. I mean, first I'm putting myself at risk because I've just had major surgery and trying to consume the same amount of food as anyone else at the table because I want to look good and show up in a really good way in my crazy thinking, like they're really going to care if I finish the food on my plate.
Yeah, and by the way, none of us are that important. You guys, nobody cares. Really, nobody cares. You care how many calories I eat? I don't really think so. So isn't it so funny? And then we're going to have this whole conversation in our head about it after. Do you think I ate enough? Maybe I didn't eat. And do you think you saw it? And maybe they're going to call me later and ask me, who gives a shit? Who cares?
Right. And the other thing though, I mean, so people go for the surgery and then they don't tell anybody about it.
So, and your family doesn't either. And your family, it's a big secret.
Okay, so I carry, and with my family, it was a huge secret because my mother was a dieter. She was a serial dieter her whole life. So for her, it's a willpower issue and it's another diet. So people see recovery from food addiction and bariatric surgery as another diet. That when we thin, we can go back to the old behaviors and everything's okay because we thin, okay? So we hit the right diet, so we just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again so we can look thin.
Right.
But we still feel like crap at the end of the day.
Right.
So we end up lying to the people in front of us and coming up with stories because, you know what, I can't tell them I had bariatric surgery in case they judge me. And so I'll just tell them that I've cut down on carbs and I'm not eating starches and I'm not doing this. Like they really care.
And the reason that I care if you judge me is because I judge myself like that, or I wouldn't care. So everybody out there, read the 4 agreements. One of the 4 agreements is don't take it personally. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the best agreements of the 4 agreements because how you show up today is about you. It's got nothing to do with me. So if you leave here today and you say, those girls were absolutely wonderful and they were fantastic and God put them on this universe so that they could help me. Or if you leave and say, those girls are effing crazy, man. They talk and they don't shut up. They don't let anybody else talk. And can't believe I drove all the way out there and I can't believe it was such a waste. And that's about you because we show up the way that we do and people look at the world through their own eyes. Right? I posted the other day that quote, which I love, right? We don't see the world the way it is. We see the world the way that we are. So again, we're going to talk about ego, which is your opinion of me, and how it's more important for me to think that you think of me a certain way than how I actually feel about myself. So you want to go around and check in?
Right, just for 1 second though. So anyone who wants to jump onto Zoom, because we have people that join us in the room in South Florida, and we have people that join us on Zoom, text, just message us on our Facebook What to Eat in You page. Send us a message and we'll send you the meeting ID so you can hop in. So Zoom is anyone in our room from anywhere, any place, just hop into the conversation. Let's check in.
Okay, you want to check in?
Yeah,
Hi.
I'm at my 4th meeting.
Yay!
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Yeah,
I'm
talk up a
feeling
little
great.
bit. Okay.
Feeling great.
Okay. Anything else you want to say besides I'm feeling great?
Not right now.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for coming and thank you for saying that. Yes.
So you're able to discuss anything that we're discussing or anything that's
That
on
you
your
wanna
mind.
discuss,
So
yeah.
anything
Yeah,
that's
fair.
been on your mind since the last time that we met, because really the whole point of recovery is getting all the stuff out of this space and out into the open so it can't hurt us anymore.
Right. So that we could see what seems this big is really this big. How are you today?
Good. I was thinking about my surgery. If people had the nerve, if people asked me, I would tell them I had the surgery. If nobody asked, I didn't say anything. And there were a few people at work who knew about it, and this one guy, he would talk to me about it very loudly, and I'd be like, come on, you know. But then I just was like, what am I doing? I mean, it's obvious I just lost this, this weight, and I feel good. And I was talking to my boss about it one day, and he said, you know what, Kim, this is your chance to do it. You know, if you're gonna do it, this is a chance. Don't care don't think about what other people, and that was really helpful, for me. I still haven't told my stepmother, because I know she thinks, like, she knows I'm a drug addict and alcoholic, and I was 80 pounds heavier than I am now. But I'd feel really bad if she thought I was a food addict too.
Why?
Because it's like, good Lord, kid, get yourself together, but
So if her opinion of
Right.
you, if she has a poor opinion of you because you're doing your best to do your best, which is your only responsibility to the universe, is to show up and do your best to do your best. You are doing your best. You did something better for yourself,
Right.
and you're in recovery, correct?
Right.
If you're doing that, why does her opinion of you matter?
because everybody else in the family is so it's like I'm kind of the good one, so even though I'm not even that great, but I don't mean great, but I mean the whole family's riddled with issues. And so when I did the weight loss surgery, I just said, you know what, first I said it's nobody's business, and then I just said, you know what, like I said, if somebody's gonna ask, I'll tell them.
And again, I'm going to go back to that, who cares?
Right.
So the family, I'm going to let you talk. The family is going to have something to talk about because you did something to help yourself physically.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Right.
What they say. It's not about what I say about you behind your back. It's
Right.
about how you feel about you. My opinion of you ain't none of your business.
Right.
If somebody has something to say, you say thanks for sharing and you end the conversation. Or
Right.
I don't appreciate having the conversation with you, so let's not.
Right.
That's all.
So
That's all.
what this is making me think of as well, we view addiction in different ways. So the worst is a drug addict, and then an alcoholic, and then at the bottom of the rung, so you got all the gamblers, and you got all the other people, the coke addicts, and everyone else in
Which one's
between.
the best one?
And then you got the food addict, like right at the very bottom. Okay, if I had lost weight on HCG and I lost 80 pounds on HCG, I was telling everybody, I went to
Everybody.
HCG, you've got to go to this weight loss center. Okay, the minute I had my surgery, I became like so stumm. I was so quiet. I didn't want anyone to know. It was like I carried, so the different diets, we put in different categories. What's okay? I'm doing Weight Watchers. I'm doing this, and I'm doing whatever this is, and people are okay discussing it. But the minute we say, listen, we did weight loss surgery, it's all of a sudden we attach a certain stigma to do
Right,
it.
it's true.
That we couldn't do it on our own.
Right.
That we had to go to our rehab and take the quick pill, which was the surgery. So we opted for the easy out. And the thing is, it's not an easy out. Do you know how many people I meet that have had complications from it?
Right.
Do you know the things that I deal with every single day because of the surgery? And it's not everybody's story.
Right.
But I work damn hard every single day to maintain what I'm doing, not only in my recovery, because that is like my big thing, but it's also, I have choices now. The choices I make are the same choices anywhere.
And those choices have to do with your recovery. It doesn't have anything to do with the surgery, you guys. Getting clean and getting well doesn't have to do with the HCG or the surgery. And when we talk about with binging and purging, or with any kind of food addiction, or with emotional overeating, everybody buys into. It's not like. So I'm gonna tell the story real fast that I used to tell. So we're going out to dinner because it's Angeli's birthday, and the wine steward comes up to me and he says to me, Felice, so great to see you tonight. Would you like red wine or white wine? And I say, you know what? I'm in recovery. No thanks. And he says, oh my God, that's so great, because Uncle Sam was in recovery and his wife came back, and the dog showed up, and everybody's happy, and he's working, and everybody's living happily ever after. That's wonderful, right? And then after dinner, everybody's going to do a shot for Angela because it's her birthday, and they ask me what kind of shot I'm doing, and I tell everybody at the table, I'm in recovery. Everybody do a shot for me. And they say, wow, that's so great. Felice in recovery. That's so great. Let's do a shot for her. Here's to Angela and here's to Felice because she's in recovery. And then it comes time to order dessert. And you're sitting next to Aunt Selma, who weighs 400 pounds. And you're going to get the bananas Foster, and you're getting the chocolate cream pie, and I'm getting the ice cream. So you have to get the birthday cake because we're going to share. And you turn around and you say, hey, you need to get the birthday cake because we're all going to share a dessert. And you say, you know what? And use that 4-letter word. And you say, you know what? I can't because I'm on a diet. And what does everybody say? You're 400 pounds, and what does everybody say to you? Oh, take one bite. We'll walk home. It's no big deal. We'll eat less calories tomorrow. Nobody says to me at the table, hey, you're in recovery. You're an alcoholic in recovery. It's no big deal. Do a shot, and we'll put you back into a drug and alcohol treatment center tomorrow for 6 months. Nobody shits on my recovery, first of all, because I don't, right? And I've had so many patients that I tell, turn around to somebody when you're in that position and say, no thanks, I'm in recovery, because no one shits on anybody's recovery. They don't.
And when you talk to
And all the cool kids are in recovery right now.
right,
So,
and if you talk to an alcoholic or a drug addict in recovery, for the most part, they will go, I am an alcoholic or
I'm in
I'm a
recovery.
drug addict
Yeah.
in recovery, and they're very open to discuss it for a large part
That's
of
true.
it. Whereas the food addicts like see it as something special and unique, and they're the last people who want to discuss it. And we wear our shame, and we just stuff it down. Literally, that's what we're doing, because we don't value that. We see it as a defect. I saw it as a defect in myself, that I didn't have the willpower. I didn't see it as a disease. I didn't see it as a compulsive overthinking. For me, it's the thinking that is my issue. It's not only the stuff that I'm putting in my body, because I make really bad choices when I'm in active addiction, but it's the thinking that gets me to the place where I start hurting myself and doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
yeah, and we say, you guys, picking up the alcohol or the drugs or the gambling or the sex or the whatever it is always what seems to be a really bad answer to whatever our problem is. And again, if there's a behavior that we're doing and we know that it's hurting us and we're doing it anyway, day after day, and today I wake up and I say, you know what, today I'm just not going to do this, and I do it anyway, and I go to bed guilty and I wake up ashamed, I have a problem. So the problem is that, yes, I'm picking up whatever substance to change the way that I'm feeling. It's not about what I'm picking up. It's about, why am I doing it? Why do I think that it's okay for me to punish myself? Why do I think it's okay for me to disrespect myself? Why would I do something to me? We'll talk about diabetes. If my child was a diabetic, would I give my child a Publix sub and a piece of cake? Of course not. Of course not. Then why would I do that to me? Why would I allow me to treat myself in a way that I would never ever treat anybody else that I cared about? And so in recovery, we're going to learn how to find out what it is, what fears we have, right? Because every single negative emotion, you guys, is fear-based. Fear is, I'm afraid of losing what I have or not getting what I want. So everything negative, we're down again on, oh, there we are. Everything negative that we're feeling is fear-based. So what's behind those fears? How do we make them better so that we could treat ourselves with kindness and love and respect? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, do you want to say hi? You don't have to say your name. You can say your name. It's your first time here. I'm glad that you're here.
Welcome.
She's like, uh-oh, I'm here. Oh my God,
So-
these girls really do talk a lot.
I just want to say something. I love seeing new faces, because it also reminds me how scared I was when I first walked into the room, and it's petrifying. It really takes a lot of courage to the first thing is realizing that there is actually something up, and we can't always pinpoint what it is. The other thing is having the courage to actually show up and make the time to actually do it and make ourselves the priority. And then the third part is really getting a lot of courage to speak up, and that sometimes takes time.
Yeah, and that usually does come with time.
Yeah.
So,
Welcome.
and yeah, welcome. And sometimes it's just saying, hey, maybe there's something else out there, because I've been doing this my way for a really long time, and I've been doing it on my own for a really long time, and I'm just as sick as I was a really long time ago. My behaviors are just the same as they were a really long time ago. So I want to learn how to change the way that I'm feeling, so that I could change my behavior, so that I could live, as they say in the room, happy, joyous, and free. Miss Sarah.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
What's up, girl? You want to just talk a second about yourself, your background a little bit?
Sure. Well, I walked in this room and for about 7.
Speak up, baby.
For
Speak up.
about, let's say, 7 or 8 years, I was in addiction with bulimia, binging, and purging. And I'm proud to say I have 165 days in recovery. Thank you. And proud to say that being in this room has helped, and the people in this room has helped me tremendously to put myself in a better place. So I'm really thankful to be here and always see new faces and always come to these meetings. I'm also happy to be in service because it makes me feel good. I'm happy to help other people. But as far as today goes, I think the better half of my morning went well. I was working with Heidi and we were, trying to figure out different service ways. The other half of my day, I feel like I've been very edgy,
Okay.
and I don't really have an associated reason why, but my body just feel on edge.
Okay.
So I feel like the people around me are not being as compassionate or loving as I should be or want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not in a way associated with wanting to pick up or use, but I don't know, it's just what I've been experiencing. So my hope for myself is I can be more compassionate and loving these days.
So here's the thing. Affect wise, I know everybody tells you how beautiful you look and how great you look and how skinny you are and all that stuff. Congrats. For me, that don't mean nothing. Spiritually, you're a billion times different. And so you're 1,000 times more calm. And Sarah was one of the people that came in here at first and couldn't even speak. Couldn't say a word, right? About anything. And you were guilty and ashamed all the time. And you were scared. And your head was going and going and going and going and going and going and going. Kind of like this one when I met her. So same thing. Over and over and over again. And a lot of that has changed. I'm going to remind you that you're a human being. That you're allowed to have an edgy kind of day. That you're allowed not to be perfect. That today you show up and you do your best to do your best, and that's all that you need to do. And so our behaviors are excusable when you don't wake up in the morning and say, hey, today I'm going to go out of my way to piss so-and-so off, right? But just today you're a little edgy, and you have to remember that our MO is that, so we're used to changing the way that we feel with whatever we're using. And then we get into recovery and we get some clean time. And we're still going to go through times where you're going to feel like picking up, no matter what that is, whether you realize it or not. And you don't have that obsession like you did before because you're not using. But we're also used to fixing the way that we feel with something. And so if I've lived my life for a certain amount of years and anytime I felt discontent, I changed how I felt by binging and purging or starving myself or shooting up or drinking or, gorging or whatever. I spent so much time with my brain not being able to have an edgy day because I didn't want to feel like that. Not being able to have a scared day because I didn't want to feel like that. So just always changing. So it's okay sometimes just to have kind of a little bit of an ugly or shitty day. And knowing that that's okay and remembering that feelings aren't facts. They're just feelings. And today you had some feelings, you felt a little edgy. If you could think of why it is, reach out to the community and talk with somebody about it. And if you can't, let it go and see how you are tomorrow. And that's okay. You're amazing. And I'm really, really, really proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would love to say something. Firstly, I just want to say something
Yeah, it's
to
really
you.
hot in here.
There's a Yiddish word that's nachas, and nachas is like absolute joy that you feel from the bottom of your pit, is really like what it is. I see Sarah and I get like such nachas out of watching her journey and watching her progressing and where she is today. And part of this was part of a discussion that we had earlier today is when we're using and we're picking up and we're behaving in a certain way. But then all of a sudden we stop using and we clean, but we have certain behaviors that still happen to us that are addictive behaviors, and it happened to me last night as well. That like edgy thing of where I snap at my husband or I do these really, we practice and we talk recovery and we talk recovery and we talk recovery and all these kind, compassionate, loving things. And then all of a sudden I turn into that crazy bitch of not being kind, compassionate, and I go back to that old way of communicating or feeling or behaving. So we're just saying it's really interesting. Like it takes us so long, for some of us longer than others, to get into recovery, and then we expect change to happen overnight, like everything to be fixed in terms of we stop picking up. Everything should be perfect
Right,
at
we
this
should be
stage.
all better.
We should be all fixed and have that gold star and be perfect.
And then we have to remember that it was never about what we were picking up. It was always about why, right? It was always about how we were scared of what and what that and how we showed up because of that and why we wanted to fix that. So I think that you're a lot more in tune with what is going on with you. And for you to be able to say, yeah, maybe today I wasn't as compassionate as I'd like to be. Now you're going to give yourself that break and say, and that's cool. And tomorrow I'm going to wake up in the morning and do my best to do my best and let it go, because that's part of the recovery part. Remember, what I hold on to just gives me more shame and guilt. And I don't have to be perfect, or the universe would have made me that way, right? But I do feel that I need to do, even if my best isn't your best today, I still will show up and do my best to do my best. That's part of my recovery. And sometimes I'm going to fall short, and that's okay. I'm not going to pick up. I am going to fall short. That's okay. As long as I don't pick up, I got tomorrow to start all over again, right? You know, spiritually, and again, to reach out. Sometimes just saying it helps, right? Sometimes just putting it out there and remembering that, Ange, got over a year clean. You got some bad days still, babe?
Yeah.
Got some days that you're still full of fear?
Yeah.
Yeah, some days that you're still in your head?
Yes.
Yes. It seems like right now.
I was paying attention.
I know. I'm just playing with you. You're amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Can you check in today, because we haven't heard from you in quite a while?
Wait,
Yes.
I just want to finish one thing with Sarah.
You have to finish one thing
I just
with
want to
Sarah.
finish one thing with Sarah.
Lady
So
has the
Sarah,
last.
so one of the things that we've always advocated for is service. Like, one of the ways to help getting out of our heads is service for ourselves. You know, sometimes the addict we help is us, ourselves. And the other way is to reach other people and get carry the message forward, because no one should be struggling with addiction. It really is horrific. And Sarah's one of those people that just dove right in. I mean, like, head first, whatever. She's like working, she's helping while wait for recovery. She's getting the message out. She's there, she's present, she shows up. She's amazing. And I just wanted to say, you're awesome. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
another awesome person who also helps us with the message and jumps into service and is just incredible and got the biggest heart is Angeli.
So that's your cue,
That's your
baby.
cue.
Start
Your introduction,
speaking.
okay?
Yeah, you haven't spoken in quite a while, actually, about anything real important. So let's have it.
You're on the spot. Spotlight on.
Yes, you are.
I don't know.
So just with the subject that we're talking about, in terms of like because this seems to be a real discussion with a lot of people in terms of going for some kind of something and showing up in another way, like presenting ourselves differently. Is there anything, how we started the discussion, that you want to add?
No.
Okay.
But I can add something else.
Okay, cool.
Not to that, because I don't have anything that I think is important enough to say. So this week, I think overall my recovery's been good. Next month I'll have 15 months in recovery, and that's been going pretty good so far. This week I actually had, I don't want to call it a situation, but I had something happen, and I even thought, am I going to share about it, am I not going to share about it, and the reason as to why I choose to or not to is because I want to make sure I'm respectful to everyone involved. And I feel like at the same time I have to be respectful and compassionate and all those great things toward myself, and not sharing about it because of fear of what somebody's going to think is not good for me in my recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did have a situation happen this week, which is new, and basically I was sponsoring someone and I'm no longer sponsoring them. And the reason being is because they decided that they're not able and are willing to do what I'm asking of them to do. That's a long story short of it.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
yeah, that's enough.
And for me, the important part of this is that I think, you know, we hear when you're in recovery, you get a lot out of sponsoring someone and all that stuff, and you grow in recovery and all that stuff, and that's great and everything until you go through it. And so going through this actually was a good experience for me, because I was able to say, look, you're not doing what I need you to do, and this is what I need you to do, or it's not going to work out. And I think this is honestly the first time, aside from with Felice, because I talk to Felice all the time, and I just talk to her comfortably, but this is where I was able to practice that stuff with someone else. And it wasn't well received at first on the other end, and that's okay, because I got to see, as long as I'm doing the right things and I'm being respectful and I'm you know, doing my best to also uphold my boundaries and be happy and not feel resentful of my decisions, that's all that matters. And so I got to see that the things we learn in recovery do come true. You know, when they say you'll have the peace of mind and you'll be able to work through these situations and the promises and all of that, and I'm getting to see that that's very true, and I'm thankful for that.
And we had a conversation last night too about how there doesn't have to be right and wrong. There doesn't have to be good and bad. Stuff is.
Right.
The world turns, the universe turns, and stuff is. Not everything needs to be labeled. And so we come across situations and they are the way that they are. We do the best to do our best and we move on. It doesn't have to be so complicated and who's right and who's wrong and it just is. Yes.
So also, you just said that and you reminded me, actually I called you and I said, Felice, I need to talk to you about something. I did this and I think it's wrong. And you said, no, whatever it is, it's not wrong. It's done and you did it. And you did it with your best intention because she knows me. And then I told her and her answer was still the same. And so yeah, I got to see that it's not like, so I called you not panicked, but a little bit like, oh no, I did
Afraid.
this thing.
We're
Yeah.
going to say afraid.
Afraid.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think this is honestly the first experience that I've had with somebody else where I said the truth and they said what they had to say and I said what I had to say and it worked out in the end.
Right.
And-
Isn't that amazing?
And you know, you bring up a really interesting topic as well. And the topic is, you know, when I was in active addiction, I would go to any lengths to be able to use it. Didn't matter what it was. If I felt like something, I would go to any supermarket or I would drive miles to go pick up whatever it was, that favorite food or whatever it was. My addiction, I would run around and I'd run circles for it and it spoke to me and it kept me marching and doing stuff. So the question also comes up is, to what lengths are you willing to go to for your recovery? You know, and not everyone is at the same place. You know, some people come in, they see what it's about, they're not sure if it's for them. Some people put a toe in, some people put their whole body in and their whole mind and their soul. And people, I think, just come in at different stages. But at the end of the day, you know, it's all about the work that you're willing to put in. And if you're not willing to put in the work, you're not going to get, nothing's ever going to change.
Right, 100%. So when we're dealing with recovery, there's no gray. Recovery is very black and white. Either you're abstinent or you're not, so that you can get well or you won't. And so when we talk about changing a behavior, we talk about how, you know, recovery or that change isn't for people who want it because everybody wants it. And recovery isn't for people who need it because everybody needs it, right? If you're hurting yourself, then you need to change. It's for people who are ready and willing to do the work. How many times have you heard me say to patients, you know, when patients will say, because my patients are amazing and really honest with me, and they'll say, you know, I really want this. And I'm like, it's like wanting to be a millionaire. So go sit in your room and want to be a millionaire. It's really not going to happen, right? So you have to do the work. You have to be willing to do the hard work. In recovery, we have to be willing to look at ourselves and say, how am I feeling? What am I feeling that's driving this negative behavior? Why am I punishing myself? What is it that's going on that I feel that it's okay for me to mistreat myself? And that's what we look at so that we can change our perspective, so that we can change our actions. It's always going to be changing our perspectives because it's changing our perspectives that allows us to change our action. Not in the very beginning. In the very
Right.
beginning, abstinence is abstinence is abstinence. We got to clean out the receptors, and that's just the way it is. So if you got to lock yourself in a room for a week, you gotta. Yes.
I understand that part of it, and I don't know if I'm going a little off topic here, but I just want to add that, you know, with the situation, I feel like everything I know about recovery, every single thing, 100%, I learned from you, like, and being your sponsee and having that relationship with you. So this was a challenge for me in that when someone wants to do something their way, it's like I think back, well, I don't quite know how that looks. I know this works and I don't know. And so it's kind of, I got to kind of, I don't want to say find myself, but find myself a little bit because I let somebody else lay down the rules, so to speak, and we did it that way and we saw it didn't work and now it's time to do it my way. And I don't say that with an ego. I say that in the way that I learned to be clean and learn to live in recovery, the way you taught me. And so I think it's a thing. I understand that it's a thing where when people are ready, they will be ready, I guess, and you can't force that.
No, absolutely
But
not.
at the same time, it was, and for me, it was a challenge of I can't work somebody else's program.
It was also a challenge for you. Is this person going to like me? And is this
Right.
person going to be mad at me?
Right.
And I'm going to feel bad if this person doesn't like me. And maybe, and then we go into that thing where and if this happens, that happens. So what happens if this person gets mad? What happens if this person speaks to somebody else and then maybe they won't like me too because maybe I'm not doing all of that crazy shit that we have going on in our head.
Right.
Instead of saying, I did my best to do my best, it's going to work out the way that it works out. Us doing our best to do our best doesn't mean the world is cooperating. I'm only responsible for my own actions and my own thoughts, right? I'm not responsible for yours. So no matter how I show up, don't got nothing to do with the way that you show up.
So you say we see the world as we are, not
Right, not as it is, as we
Right.
are. Right.
So we had this experience happen. Whatever the experience is, if me and you have an experience happen, I see it one way and I think it's great and it's come to an end and it's done, and you see it and say, well, I'm mad at her. She could have done better. She didn't do this. She didn't do that. And I obviously, well, or not so obviously, I'm in recovery, so I cognitively know that you're allowed to have your own feelings.
Correct.
I'm allowed to have my own feelings. You're allowed to feel. I'm allowed to feel. As long as we're respectful to each other, that's cool.
Right.
But sometimes, yes, but as I think we all can relate, your brain doesn't follow that way of thinking. Like you feel the negative feelings, the fear-based emotions.
The fear-based emotion. So
Right.
that's what it is. So we went through that a lot in the beginning, right? Where there would be something going on and you would be worried about telling me.
So I'd
And
go, I have to talk to you. Okay. And then she'd go,
She would be crying. And
yeah, and she'd be so scared. She goes, you're really scaring me.
Like
Did something
somebody
really bad
died or-
happen? Like, did you break into my house and steal something? Or did you hurt my kid or
Right.
something? Like, really, I take things, like, it took me so long to even speak, and I still battle. It's still a challenge that I have of actually like saying, one of my challenges is wanting to be liked all the time. That is
That's
one of
ego,
my,
you
that's
guys.
my biggest thing is I have this compulsion to be liked. And if I'm not, I'm either get upset or I become indignant. It's like I swing on this pendulum. So for me to actually show up and be honest, I've been a chameleon so long in my life that I could be these different things and put on different hats because I know what you're going to respond to and make you happy. So you see me in a certain way.
Manipulation, we call
I'm
it. a
totally
bad way.
manipulative.
Yeah.
So when it comes to taking all that off, I feel really naked and afraid.
Yeah, and afraid.
It's true.
And
I mean, I'm
that-
totally exposed and
Yeah, and that afraid part is if I show up and say this and she gets mad, is she going to leave?
right.
Right? And so that gets back to my own self-worth. And am I worth loving if what I'm doing today isn't making you happy?
Can I say
Yes.
something? I feel like I'm talking a lot.
But yes, you are. Go ahead.
Okay.
Continue.
So you said, can you repeat the last thing you said?
No, I'm old. But if you're angry with me, if you get mad at me,
Uh-huh.
perhaps that's going to mean that you're not going to like me anymore,
Or that
right?
you're gonna
Because if
leave.
I don't act the way that you want me to act, I'm not, if you don't act the way that I want you to act, I'm not going to be your friend anymore, and I'm going to leave.
So I remember.
Okay.
So the other thought I had is there's that thought, and then sometimes my mind goes to, I snap back and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? That makes no sense. Do you have no respect for yourself? And now I'm like, get on myself about that. I'm worried that this person's going to be mad at me. I don't care if they're mad at me. I should be mad, or I should, and that's not an ego thing. I'm just flipping it around. That there's there's the reality of the situation, and that I truly did do everything I can, and it's not about me. And that now it's this thing where I actually don't have any self-respect because I'm worried about what this person is thinking.
So remember, all of those negative feelings are fear-based.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of losing what I have
Right.
or not getting what I want. I'm afraid of losing the respect of others. I'm afraid of not getting love or friendship from somebody else.
Right.
I'm afraid of, the ego-wise, how other people look at me, and I have 15 months clean, and I'm supposed to present in a certain way because I'm fabulous, right? I get to raise my hand and say, yeah, today I got 15 months clean, which makes me all better. you know, what happens if they see me the way that I am? Perhaps they won't like me. I'm afraid of losing what I have or not getting what I want.
And this is so much on topic with what we started. So, no, it is.
What did we
No,
start
because
with?
I'm telling you, because as putting what other people think as more important than what we really feel at the end of the day.
Because we base our own feelings on how other people see us, which is effing crazy. So we spend all of this time trying to manipulate situations that we have absolutely no control over because we know that we have control over our thoughts and our actions, and that's it. And by the way, you guys, there are going to be way lots of times that we're going to show up and do our best to do our best, and it's not going to be enough. And you are going to get mad, and you're not going to want to be my friend. And that's okay too. That's okay.
And I think it's also a very different perspective when you're in recovery and you're able to see this, whereas before the manipulation and the chaos were my reasons to justify picking up and using.
Or even just staying in the middle of chaos, which in itself is an addiction, right? Getting involved in other people's caca, right? Constantly. Sarah, we used to talk about that, right? Where you would talk about, well, this person said this to this person and I got really upset. And I would be like, what does that have to do with you? Why does that upset you? It's got nothing to do with you. You know, it could be like your next door neighbor's dog walker was talking about the mailman. Like it didn't have anything to do with you. But getting in the midst of that chaos is something that, you know, it's like something happens and you call 15 people and say, oh, did you hear what happened on the news? And this person did this and, you know, down the street and they did this and blah, blah, blah. You know, my answer, stock answer to that is always like, if you're calling to collect money because we're setting up a fund, cool, I'll have a conversation. Otherwise, I can't play there. It's not good for me, right? I get to work on my own stuff enough and help others as much as I can if I'm helping others. Otherwise, to just get stuck in the middle of somebody else's story doesn't serve me and certainly doesn't serve them.
I have a question, like what if, because a lot of times this happens to me in the family, what if people come,
Talk up, baby.
what if people come to you a lot and want to bring the stories or
So let's make something up. So tell me what happens and I'll tell you.
I don't know, if it's a situation with my dad and something my brother did, which usually is the case, or my brother will call me about something my dad did.
Okay, so your brother calls you and says, you wouldn't believe what dad did. He did ba 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 ba, and your answer easily can be, wow, if you're having a challenge with dad, I think it would be great for you to talk with dad about that. Done. That's over. Right?
Even if they're not that type of person. it's
Doesn't
still-
matter. You're not responsible for what type of people they are. Nor are you responsible for dancing with them when they're dancing the chaos dance. Right? So the best thing, remember, people put their hand out to dance. You take their hand and dance or you don't. So if you do dance and you put yourself in the middle of that chaos, how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel happy, joyous, and free?
No, it just puts me in the middle of the drama.
Crap. Exactly. In the middle of drama, and you being in the middle of that drama, does it change anything?
No.
No. And are you going to change your brother and your dad? No, but you could change the way that you're getting in the middle of it by saying, hey, I understand, and you can talk to dad about that. That's all. Yep, talk to dad about it. That's all. Respect yourself and respect them as well. Right? Playing into somebody's drama doesn't help anybody.
No.
Right. You're not their lawyer. You're their lawyer and getting paid $350 an hour. Keep them on the phone. Right? Okay. All right. You want to check in, Mr. Starving One?
No, I think you did. I think you touched on it.
I told him, I'm like, you would make the worst anorexic. Like they're fasting, like somebody else today at the office was fasting. I'm like, oh my God,
So-
I could fast for a week.
It's Ramadan.
No challenge.
No, it's Ramadan. So a lot of people are fasting.
Right, the anorexics love this holiday. It's like so great for us.
The overeaters, unless you wake up really early. Okay, so you can make it through till nighttime. I mean, it's really, you got to plan ahead.
Right.
Yeah. it's
And for
crazy.
drug addicts and alcoholics, we just use
I know,
no
it's
matter what
fine.
it is. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what day it is. Okay, so we're
Liz,
mixing.
Liz, if you want to check in, just unmute yourself and say hi, or you don't have to.
And I'm going to give a shout out.
I don't have a great connection, so I'll try to keep it short. Um, so you were talking earlier about how bariatric patients don't want to talk to others about the fact that they've had surgery. And that's the situation that I'm in. I had my surgery 2 months ago, and I only told the bare minimum to people that absolutely had to know. A couple of people at work, obviously, because I had to take off. You know, my family and just a couple of very close friends. And I'm still not talking about it.
Yeah.
And I've thought about it a lot, and I feel that my reasons for not wanting to talk about it is, first and foremost, I don't want to have to justify my reasons to other people who don't understand what it's like to have a food addiction.
Okay, and I'm going to interrupt you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Because I interrupt, so I want to interrupt you. First of all, you quote unquote sugarcoated it to begin with. So to begin with, you said, so people have bariatric surgery and they don't want to talk to other people about having, instead of, you have surgery and you hide the fact, which is kind of like lying, right? Kind of like, right? You don't have to explain yourself to anybody. Okay? If you had breast cancer and you had to have a mastectomy, would you have to explain yourself to somebody?
No.
Of
And
course
there's
not.
part of that. So I know that I don't want to talk about this with people because I hate the fact that I've had surgery.
Why?
I'm very, leading up, all the months leading up to going for the surgery, I was very ashamed about it. I'm still ashamed about it. I feel like this is that one thing in my life that I could never figure out. I could not do it on my own. And surgery was my last resort. And I hate that I've had to do it to try to get control over this because my weight was spiraling out of control. My health was deteriorating, and this was it. This was it for me. And it's hard for me to say this out loud to people. It's hard for me to say it out loud, period.
Okay, so let me tell you a couple of things. Your surgery wasn't the answer to your problems. It was the answer to your weight problem. And it was
Right.
the answer to your health problems for a short period of time. If you want to ask Angeli or I how many of my patients are 1.5, 2 years post bariatric surgery that have gained every single pound back and more, we could have a big discussion about that. That's the first step that you took. The fact that, you know, at some point we all have to say, you know what? Hi, my name is Felice and I'm an addict. Because until I say out loud that I'm an addict, until I say that I have a challenge, I can't fix a problem unless there's a problem to fix. So first I have to know what's the problem to fix. The problem isn't your 100 pounds overweight. The problem is what is driving your behavior, right? What's driving your behavior?
Right.
The addicted brain is different than another brain. So the other brain has 3 drinks, throws up, and then doesn't drink for 3 weeks because they got sick. The alcoholic, I used to drink, make myself throw up so that I could drink some more, so that I could make myself throw up so that I could drink some more, right? Whole different thing happening chemically in the brain. That's first of all. Do yourself a favor and read up. I'm gonna have you IM me because I'm gonna send you some stuff to read about addiction so you could give yourself a fucking break. First of all,
Okay.
You're not a monster. You're an addict. So are the rest of us. You know, I'm gonna tell you, I'm a really good girl. I show up at work. I do my best to do my best. I help a whole lot of people at home. I'm a great mom. I'm really a good person. Do I screw up? Absolutely. But for the most part, do I do my best to do my best? Yeah, I do. And you know what? I'm an addict, alcoholic, anorexic. And those are 3 things that happen in my brain. And how I show up is who I am. Right? So learn a little bit about addiction so that you could give yourself a break. Because if you have an addictive brain, you have an addictive brain. And then stay abstinent and start learning how to get some recovery. Come to meetings and start learning how we get well. Because once you get well, instead of walking around ashamed and guilty, you get to walk around feeling better and helping others. Which I don't know, you know, for me, everybody has their different views on God or the universe or whatever. I believe that we're here for service. I believe that that's a really big part of our existence. And so we can't be of service when we're stuck in our own head, feeling scared and lonely and ashamed and afraid, right? In the rooms of
Right.
AA, they talk about incomprehensible demoralization. Incomprehensible demoralization, which is what you're feeling. That we do to ourselves. Nobody does that to us. We
Right.
do that to ourselves. Stop it. Stop it. You got some good inside of you, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's move forward with that. And stop beating yourself up. Okay, you're an addict. Okay, that happened. One day your brain changed and you became an addict chemically. Okay, that happened. Now find out how to change your perspective so that you can change your actions so that you can live a happy life and be of service to others.
And that's exactly why I'm here.
Okay, we're glad that you're here. Thank you
I,
for letting me beat you up.
so I've got a request, and the request is, Liz, you're not alone. So thousands of people want to know about addiction.
Yeah.
So she's also a part of our group, What's Eating You on Facebook. It's a closed group. Can you post that thing about addiction on What's Eating You so
Yeah.
that everyone can read, whoever it's
Yeah, I
speaking
did
to,
that a
'cause
couple
you're
years
not
ago.
alone.
Repost that. Yeah.
And honestly, it's a great article and it's great resources, and I think a lot of people are asking to see it. So
Absolutely.
check on our Facebook group and in our community, okay?
And
It's
What's
going to be
Eating You.
posted there, okay? There are a couple of other things. We've been working on different, people say service. What does that look like? We've had a couple of people in our room step up to be of service, and we're putting together a list of different opportunities that kind of trigger our thinking of things that we can do. And we're going to post that up in our group as well. And also, anyone wanting to get onto Zoom, you need to become a member of our Facebook group, What's Eating You. So then we're going to post the ID, because the ID is changing for every single meeting, so you're able to join us in the room on Zoom. We also have a new venue for those people joining us face to face. It's awesome. It's a war room because we are addiction warriors. We are recovery warriors, okay? So we're meeting in a war room starting from Sunday. It's in Fort Lauderdale. Everything is posted on Facebook. Please come join us face to face. It makes a big difference when you're in the room with us, either here physically or
on
virtually
Zoom.
or on Zoom. And we just have 2 minutes left. So
Real quick, are you
Yeah.
doing your gratitude list every night and your strength for the day, Liz?
Oh, so it's new to me, and I'm not sure how.
Perfect.
to do
Okay,
it.
so we're going to tell you how. You write three things. Go on What's Eating You. Read somebody else's gratitude list. We post them just about every day. A lot of people do. 3 things that you're grateful for and your strength for the day. Doesn't have to be beautiful and flowery. It just has to be there so that you're putting out into the universe and looking at things that you're grateful for.
And for our newcomers, we give you a 30-day challenge. Try and do this for 30 days straight. And also just to clear out the brain, no starches.
No rice, bread, potato, pasta. No starches, 0 starches, never again. Just like I can't have 3 Percocet on Sunday and think that I'm going to be okay on Monday. Yes.
And no sweets.
No sweets, of course, no sweets. No rice, bread, potato, no starches, and no sweets. You have any questions about that? I am one of us, and we'll tell you a little bit
Post
more
it
about
on What's
that.
Eating You, and
Yeah.
we'll also respond
Yeah.
to that.
You'll get a lot of people responding. I'm going to read the promises from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous because I can, because it's fabulous, and because it's true. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we can see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that the universe does for us what we can't do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We don't think so. They're being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly, but they'll always materialize if we work for them. Dr. Felice Cellini, I'm so blessed and grateful to be here with you guys. Thank you for being a part of my recovery and helping me in my recovery. This is our Thursday night Why Wait for Recovery community recovery meeting.
And for you guys who we are seeing at the workshop on Saturday, can't wait to connect with you. And for the
Saturday
rest of you,
workshop.
we'll see you Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're on Facebook watching us, join What's Eating You. It's a closed group, and you guys are awesome.
Awesome. Recovery is awesome too.
We love you.
Peace
Take
out, you
care.
guys.
Peace out, everyone.